Hey guys, thanks for watching. In this video, I'm really going to talk about things that really separate a professional trader, someone who trades for a living, and someone who takes trading to a really expert level versus someone who trades more at an amateur level, kind of just sees trading as a bit of a punt, just a bit of a relaxing hobby. And so I made this diagram based on my own experience and just various things to consider about really mastering trading. So, as you note in this diagram, trading psychology accounts for actually 60% of your actual trading journey and mastery. And as traders, sometimes we can forget how emotions are fear and greed, and how we master that, along with discipline, how that really influences our trading. Think of a time, for example, when you're really stressed out and something bad has happened in your personal life. That can actually often lead you to subconsciously making rash decisions in trading. Sometimes you try to find setups when there actually isn't one. You try to force setups even when there is not a high probability setup, and you pretty much force the trade and eventually you have to cut your losses when the trade goes wrong. And so I've actually put trading psychology at 60% because I do believe it's actually one of the most important aspects of trading. You might note how I've actually put a low percentage for strategy, because honestly, a lot of people do think that the strategy is the most important thing and they focus fully on the strategy. But I disagree. I would say strategy is actually only one small aspect. And if you notice, I've only put strategy as 5% here, and developed and backtested algorithm actually goes with strategy as well, because the strategy is important, of course. For example, if you don't have a winning strategy with confluences that you actually like, that suits your trading style, how can you possibly have an edge in trading and increase your win rate and actually make any profit? But one note in particular is that some people have strategy, but they don't go into the fine details of that strategy. They don't have an actual algorithm. So in other words, you might have a strategy, you might have some winning trades, but are you able to actually isolate why those particular trades worked? And are you able to replicate that same strategy for every single trade in different environments? So I think this is a fine detail that people actually miss. Yes, you might have won a trade, but are you able to isolate the reason why you won that trade and then be able to actually reproduce the same result over and over again? And on top of that, your strategy might work for a couple of months in one particular market type, for example, in a ranging market, but will it actually work in a sideways market? And this is why I always say, someone might say their strategy has worked for a couple of months. I had a really good scalping strategy that worked for about 3-4 months. But then when the market condition changed to a more ranging sideways market, it didn't work. And that's why I challenge you. Your strategy might work for 3-4 months, but if you tell me that your strategy works for 2 years, I'm more likely to actually believe you. Because by 2 years, roughly, I believe that your strategy would have had to stand the test of time and go through so many different market conditions. For example, a ranging market, a trending market, a bull market, a bear market, a risk-off market from the Fed policy, a risk-on market from Fed policies. So this is just something else to actually consider. The next thing I talk about is enough market exposure. And I put this as 5%, but I think this is also a really important aspect. You need to have enough market exposure to really gain an understanding of market structure. And sometimes you could be the kind of person that goes through all the courses and all the seminars, but ultimately sometimes it comes down to enough market exposure. There's a huge difference between actually the theory and actually applying it in real life. What you're told, for example, in real life, for example, you might be told about certain patterns like head and shoulder pattern or a double bottom, but the way these things actually span out in real life is actually a lot different to the actual theory. And by actually participating and getting enough market exposure, this will really help you with this. And again, it all depends on the person. Because of this multifactorial approach, some people might master this in 2 years, someone else might take 10 years, someone else might take 20 years. I've been in the market now for around 10 years, and honestly, I believe that it would take 20 years overall to really peak in your trading career. Obviously, there's no set time, but I think there's always room to actually learn. And I think this is another aspect of someone who treats trading like a profession, like a professional trader, is you're constantly trying to improve. You realize that you can be wrong, and you really focus on the things you can control and focus on your edge. and try to let go of strategies that might not work for you. The next thing I talk about is knowing when not to trade. And this is a really huge, important thing. We've recently noticed, in particular for Bitcoin, how the FOMC meetings and the jobless reports and all these Fed meetings really impact the results. And I've actually now made a new rule in which I will not trade Bitcoin in particular and cryptocurrency during important news announcements. I will wait at least 4 hours minimum until the event has happened and the price has settled down. And some cases I don't even trade at all. Because it's interesting how we've always been socially conditioned into always working hard for money, always working long hours. But sometimes in trading, if you don't trade and you don't lose money, that's still a huge step. Because if you lose money, then you're already from a negative balance. And so this fundamental aspect is very important. I am like 90% a technical trader, but you need to also have some respect for some fundamentals once in a while. And in particular, these news greatly does affect the price. And as we've noticed with Bitcoin in particular, there's been strong wicks on both sides. And some of the wicks on these news announcements have been so crazy that it does not even matter if you're long or short. You would have been stopped on either direction of the trade. And some people actually called it liquidations as somewhat of a meme because how ridiculously manipulated these wicks were. And so yes, knowing when to stay out of the market is a really important aspect as well. The next thing is risk management. Do you have a gauge of what your win rate is? Do you have a gauge of what your risk reward ratio is? And monitoring this, for example, how much of your account do you risk per trade? Are you risking 1% of your account per trade? Are you risking 2%? Does your risk management style really allow you to stand the test of time? And this I put as 20%, and I can completely see why some people might put this much higher. But honestly, I do believe that trading psychology and risk management are the most important aspects of trading, as shown in my diagram. And it's just always staying humble as well. It doesn't matter how good your strategy is. If you cannot manage your risk and you're overexposing your account for a single trade, then you will not stand the test of time. You need to have enough of a risk management strategy for your edge in trading to catch up over the test of time. And it's also about staying humble as well. Like if you're honestly saying, oh, my strategy is so good, I cannot lose this trade. This kind of person the market roasts. And it's very important to not let your ego get in the way and always try to accept what can go wrong in trading. Most people are trying to always swing for the fence, but I always ask myself, how can I live to fight another day? But yes, guys, I hope this video has been helpful. I just wish that someone made a video like this for me when I started trading, and I feel that it would have really helped speed up my learning curve in trading. But guys, thanks a lot for watching. Do check out my YouTube channel. I post other things, for example, Bitcoin analysis, and also other things like tools to give an edge in trading and other content as well. But thanks a lot, guys, for watching, and I'll catch you in a bit.